Hey guys, Todd here from HobbyLink Japan, back with another review from home as we continue to work at home during this period. Now today I am going to be taking a look at another kit from Kotobukiya, and this is going to be the ADF-11F, and this is from the Ace Combat game series, specifically Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, and this is a 1/144th scale kit. So 1/144th scale, that means that this plane is the same exact scale as a HG 1/144th Gundam. So I'll show off the size difference between those two later on in the video, but first let's take a look at what we get here. So this Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown game, this was a game that was released, I believe, for the PlayStation 4 during 2019. So it's a rather new video game that came out not that long ago. And I actually have not played this game. I've played really old Ace Combat games. It's been a while since I played them, but I like aircraft, so that was kind of, I think Ace Combat, along with Colony Wars, were kind of some of the first games that I ever bought from my original PlayStation way back in the day. One of these days, I do have a PlayStation 4. I need to get around to trying out this Ace Combat 7 game one of these days, but if it has planes like this, it's maybe deviated a bit from previous games where they had more realistic aircraft in the past. Now they're designing their own stuff, so it's an interesting design what we have here. Now apparently the ADF-11 is, I guess it is the production model, and then there's actually two of these ADF kits that were released by Kotobukiya. The other one would be the ADF-10, and that one had a white color to it. Actually, I think it's the same white plastic as we get here on these drones for this ADF-11. So that one, if you want a more white version of this, get that version. Now the only difference, now there's a reason I chose to build the 11 over that 10 kit. Now the 10, the only difference it really had was, you see here this kind of cockpit looking area. This one's got these pitted kind of dots on there. Now the ADF-10 does not have those, well it actually has, it includes this cockpit with the pitted dots on there, but it has an extra cockpit in that kit which is more smooth. So I guess the prototype has a different cockpit there with a more smooth finish to it. I'm not sure if that means that, since I haven't played the game, I believe just from a little bit of research that I did that a variant of this aircraft, it can be manned by a human pilot. But then there's also one that is controlled by drones. It's one of those unmanned aerial drone type things. So there are the two versions of this. So not sure which would be which, but there is that difference between the 10 kit and the 11 kit. Now, the reason, besides that cockpit difference, which I didn't really particularly care so much whether it has the smooth cockpit here or the one with the dots, but the main reason that I chose to build the 11 over the 10 is those before mentioned drones. So if you buy the 10 kit, it will not come with these two drones here under the wings, which I thought looked really cool, and that's what actually drove me to want to build this 11. Actually, there's one more thing that kind of drove me to build the 11 over the 10, and that is that I kind of like that darker gray look to the plane over the white look. Although the white is really kind of cool, I still kind of like the darker gray, so I really wanted, between the drone and the darker color, that was kind of the two reasons that I really wanted to build the 11 over the 10. So this is kind of an interesting kit. It was 100% snapped together, so you do not need to use glue at all. And there is actually one tiny point of articulation that we will be able to talk about with this kit here, and I'll do that in a second. But first, let's kind of take a look at what we have here. So this kit does have a bit of kind of a raised panel ram line, I guess you would call it, on the we have these same kind of lines show up on F-35s and F-22s, and I believe they call it the ram lines. And for the F-22 and the F-35s, some model manufacturers, they tend to depict those lines on the plastic model kits with slightly raised plastic, just like they did on here. Now, if you were to look at the actual aircraft itself, however, there will be no raised lines on that. But for some reason, model manufacturers have decided to use raised plastic lines on some of those kits. Not all. There are some F22 and F35 kits out there that do not have those raised round lines on there, but a good number of them have decided to do that. I'm not really sure why. I guess when you actually build it, it really doesn't show, or when you build it and you paint it, it really won't show up too much, but just because it's not 100% real, it kind of does bother me a bit. But hey, this complete aircraft is 100% not real anyway. But actually, yeah, if you look at that box art, you will notice that there are really no these lines on here. You can see the lines on there, but they don't really look raised here, at least not to like the level that they are on the plastic. If you were to scale this aircraft up to be 1/1 size, then these bumps would be quite noticeable, I would have to say. So there is that one slight quibble I have about those lines on the kit. But other than that, I'm really digging this kind of futuristic design to this. It's maybe something that we might actually see in the next 50 years, because I believe, at least for the American Air Force, they are actually currently developing replacement for the F-22. I know a lot of people think that F-22 is quite new, but you got to realize that the F-22 fighter was actually, the design for that thing began towards like the late 1980s. So that one is actually, even though it is quite new, it is actually, the design at least is getting a bit old. And yeah, so they're already working on the next generation of fighter jets, and you have to wonder what the next generation of fighter jets look like. They might actually end up looking something like this. I think one of the Boeing concepts that I have seen for a replacement F-22 actually also eliminated that vertical tail surface on the back, so that might be a design feature that carries over to the next generation fighter, although I'm not too sure if it's going to have canards kind of in the mid section like that. But it is an interesting idea, so we shall have to see. Let's take a look at the underside of this. So you got more of those kind of raised panel lines going on. Now I elected to build this kit here with the landing gear so that I can be able to show off that landing gear for you on the review. But they also do include parts in this kit. Let me pull one over. I'm not going to pull off the landing gear to show it for you with all these gear, with all the doors closed. But you do have extra parts in here. If you decide to build this kit without the landing gear lowered, if you want to build it in flight, then you can use these optional landing gear cover doors to build it with those doors closed. So you do have that option, which is a nice option. They give you another thing for that if you would like to build this kit in flight mode, and I'll show that off a bit later as well. So one nice thing about this kit is that it does have, it's not like 100% molded in one plain color. We do have a couple different colors, like the landing gear is a more silverish type color, the drone is in that white, and for the engines here, this is the same kind of vectored thrust engine setup that we would find on the F-22 actually, and you can see that these are also going to be molded here in color. Now let me see if I can grab a tool. So these actually should be able to open up. So let me grab a tiny screwdriver here and open up one of these so we can take a look on the inside. Now I'm not going to be able to have the light to really be able to show off that engine in the inside. Now this is going to be too dark. Yeah, that's never going to show up, but at least this thing is kind of articulated, and you'll just have to trust me that there actually is an engine kind of looking thing on the inside, at least that what would you call that, the thrust fan or something. So yeah, these vectored thrust doors nozzles, they can be opened and closed, so you can position those how you would like. And for here in the center section here, there's kind of like an odd flap. I'm not sure exactly how much that's going to really help control, but this flap in the center of the back is actually also articulated can articulate, so if you want to pose that, you can. So there is that to it as well. Alright, so for armament, there's the previously mentioned drones, which is the reason that I really wanted to build the 11. But also, we have here missiles. So you do have a couple of missiles. Now, if you decide not to build this kit with the drones on the wing, there's actually a full set of 4 missiles in here. So you could build it completely with missiles instead of the drones on there if you would like. So the option is there, and the option is yours. Alright, so one kind of cool feature about this fighter that would make this thing completely not workable in the real world, although I guess technically it might be feasible, but I just do not see it ever happening. I guess one of the key features for this ADF fighter is that it has this kind of detachable nose section, so you're able to, let me see if I can pull it off. There you go. So I guess these two things should be able to go around and fly separate from each other. So you have the main kind of wing section here, so you'll be able to fly this thing around. Maybe it can fly around on its own by computer control. And you have the nose section where you're going to have the computer, the pilot, sitting, I guess. Now, cool thing about this is I guess when it is separated, just like we used to have on the old F-14 Tomcat, you have kind of a swing wing. Now it swings opposite direction from the F-14. It swings back, it swings from the back instead of the F-14 where it was reversed. It would go from the front and it would swing out. This one comes from the back and swings that way. But yeah, when you get those wings swinged out, this is that one I mentioned earlier, there's going to be 1 point of articulation. I forgot about those engine bells, but yeah, the wings on this little nose piece, they also can articulate out like that. And so this thing will be able to fly around on its own. That is kind of quite snazzy, quite cool, I have to say. Oh, I completely forgot about one more thing actually on this. Now that I was looking at the bottom, this thing actually has another kind of wing that is able to pop out there underneath. So that is one more place that it can have control. Since it doesn't have a vertical tail surface there, I guess it has this kind of tail type control surface that can pop out the bottom of the plane, and when it's not being used it can fold right up on the insides. I completely forgot about that guy there, but yeah, that's there too, and that is kind of quite cool. This kit actually does come with a full sheet of water slide decals, so that is quite cool, and lots of different unit markings on here. So not a whole lot of like system warning type things, although they are up in here. That would be here. They're all printed in white, so that would stick out against that darker gray color. But yeah, we got like top hat type of marking here. Lots of different kind of markings, and then different numbers, so you can number your aircraft however you want to number it. So yeah, quite a cool sheet. Now I did look, actually the decal sheet that comes with the ADF-10 kit is completely different than the one that comes with this 11. So both decal sheets and the 2 different kits, those are also something that is completely unique for each kit. And it actually comes with, and this is always nice to see, a display stand, and we get a little attachment here. It is on the display stand without the nose piece. Now you might be wondering why I do not have the nose piece on there yet, and that is because I wanted to show off that this actually comes with not 1 but 2 display bases. Alright, so this display base though is quite miniature compared to that other main big one. So the main big one will be able to actually just hold up the weight of the entire thing, and this one should be able to, I think we can use it for the nose piece as well. So there we go. So we got this set up for the nose. So if you want to have those 2 pieces displayed separate, then you can have the nose on one stand and the plane on the other. Okay, so yeah, we got the 2 pieces here on the 2 different display stands, so you can display them separately if you would like. Now, to get a good idea about the size of this thing, just how ginormous it would actually be, right here I have This is a 1/144th scale Zero fighter. So this was not a model kit that I built. This is just something that came from one of those kind of F-Toys type toy boxes they sell in supermarkets here. So for World War II fighters, 1/144th scale is actually something that is just about perfect for those little toy boxes that they sell in the candy section of supermarkets here in Japan, because it's that not very big and it just kind of perfectly fits in one of those boxes. So, but this is going to be good for us to get a good size, a good idea about just how large this thing would be if it really existed. So the Zero Fighter, compared to just the nose cone, the nose part alone, you can tell even just the nose alone is actually quite larger than the Zero Fighter would be. Quite the size difference between these two aircraft. Whew. That is kind of cool. However, a Gundam, an RX-78 HG kit here, these two are also going to be the same scale. You see, you know roughly around how tall an HG kit is. So, as you can tell, this plane, even though it is 1/144 scale, this is actually a quite a pretty decent, good sized kit. To be quite honest with you, it's quite large. A bit larger than I actually maybe imagined it would be, considering just how small that box was. The box is really just not that big. Actually, the box for this guy would end up being bigger than the box for this ADF-11 kit. So that is quite cool to see. Thank you very much, Mr. Gundam. We'll put you back over to the side there. So remember, it does come in two variants if you want. It does come in the ADF-10 prototype variant, which is that white colored plastic, with the difference being that it comes with a different style cockpit, although it does not have the drones. Both of them, I believe, are still currently available for order on our site, HobbyLink Japan, HLJ.com. So if you're interested in buying one of these two, be sure to check out those links below and get your orders in. Now, we are still open, we are still working, we are still shipping, so if you want something to do while you are stuck at home, now is the time to get an order in. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this video then. Please stay tuned for more videos that are going to be coming on the way. I've got a backlog of stuff that I needed to review for Gunpla TV for a while, so since I am now working at home, this is the perfect chance for me to kind of knock out some of these videos here. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and hope you all are staying inside and staying safe.